Hey YouTube, Hillbilly F100 here. Wanted to do a, I guess this would be, I guess I'll call this Jag swap number 1, or official Jag swap number 1. I know I was doing numbering system. I don't know. I'll probably end up just doing Jag swap whatever number I'm on. But for those of you who started watching in anticipation of some either tutorials or statuses on the Jag independent front suspension swap, the other videos were just kind of little updates about the goings on, or how I'm going to do it, or getting the oxygen acetylene bottles filled, that kind of stuff. This is going to be the first update of me actually making actual progress on the truck. Now, for those of you who have messaged me and have asked me to take detailed video, don't be alarmed. I haven't really done a whole lot. Just kind of done some stuff that I don't think anyone really needed to see me do in either time lapse or step-by-step kind of things, but I will explain. I'll kind of go back and explain what I did. So with that said, let me turn the camera here. Basically, it's kind of late at night, so I didn't get a whole lot started, but I did get a start. This is the front suspension again. This is the Jaguar crossmember. I'm looking at the back of it. I'm on the driver's side now. That's the rack and pinion. It's still real dirty. Still needs to be rebuilt, but I'm going to get it welded in and then I'll rebuild it. But all I've done so far is, I don't know if you can see because it's that black paint on that thing. The crossmember is actually in good shape. Let me get this down here. It's got a little bit of grime and stuff, and it's down to bare metal in some areas, but I went ahead and cleaned up a little bit of the grime and the oil, and I'll have to do a little bit better when it comes time to actually weld it. But right there is where the engine mounts used to set, which are those boys right there. That's the bolts that's holding it in. There's 4 bolts holding it in on each side. I'm going to try to utilize those pads because on my engine, right there is the original mount for the 65s and many others. I'm going to, you can see right here where it bolts to the frame or is riveted to the frame. I'm not sure if that's a bolt or a rivet yet. I'm going to keep that one on there, but then it comes up to the engine, and then let's see if I can, down there is where it bolts or rivets onto the crossmember. I'm going to try to keep that unmolested and just try to undo it right here at the seam. Hopefully when I drop the crossmember down, I'll be able to, when I put the other crossmember up, attach that in some fashion. In a perfect world, it'd fit right there on that pad in some way, but even if not, I'm going to have to fabricate something. I went ahead and set my engine hoist up. All I got to do is hook the chain. I'm just going to hook it to the manifold, probably on each side. If I break that spark plug, I don't care because I haven't done a tune-up on it yet, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. But anyways, that's where it's at, and I'm not lifting the engine, so the amount of space between the hood and the hoist is not going to matter. So I think I could actually do this with the hood on, which is kind of makes it a little easier, and makes the tutorial that much easier, or for the guys who are planning on doing this with the front suspension or the front clip still on, the front body and everything still on. Hopefully I'll be able to prove that it is possible. One of the main reasons I didn't want to take the hood off is because the hood fit really well. The fitment to the fenders and the hood was a nice fit, and a lot of times when you get these old hoods off, these bolts, it's hard for them to line back up. So I just figured, if I could do without it, then I'll do without it. I've got the front wheels off, or wheels and tires off, and I went ahead, and of course you can see The engine hoist is actually the only thing supporting the I-beams. There is a little hook. Let's see if you can see it. It's not a big deal. I'll get more detailed later, but there's a hook. I think it's right there, and that is actually going to need to be cut off, and that will allow that I-beam to fall down further. But the game plan, as it is I'm going to first off probably unbolt the gearbox, undo the gearbox, the linkage from the top, probably undo the steering linkage and all that mess right there. But then I'm gonna from there go ahead and cut. I'll probably end up cutting the coil. Y'all let me know what you think about that. Give me some messages or comments on that. You know, it's a lot easier just to cut that stinking coil and let the thing, you know, fall out. And these coils are pretty cheap. And you know, initially I think I'm gonna try to just sell this I-beam setup to somebody who's either building a rat rod, or maybe they just need something, you know, some pieces off of it or whatever. I may just take it to one of the local swap meets and sell it, or you know, who knows, I may work on it or do something with the project in the future. But once I get the spring off, however I get it off, cutting it or compressing it, unbolting it, whatever the case may be, then I'll go ahead and take the I don't know if I'm going to take initially I don't know if I'm going to take the rivets off that back radius arm mount, or if I'm just going to go ahead and just unbolt the radius arm mount and leave the radius arm mount there for the time being. I've got to make a promise myself to at least cut the rivets out, because I don't want to keep it there. I don't know, it just kind of makes it look a little unfinished if you know, if I was to keep it there. And then from there I'm going to support the engine, and I'll start the crossmember disconnect. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the brake hose, of course. I'm just actually going to disconnect the hose, you know, right there, and not try to, I don't know, I'm probably going to end up having to redo the lines anyhow. But yeah, someone's already cut out, the previous owner or the previous owner before the previous owner already cut up the inner fender. Huge old opening there. I will maybe try to repair that. I don't know. I'm going to see what I can do. That's about it. I did notice some of you all might be able to tell me a little bit better. Is that a serial number that's on the front part of that frame? Not really up on where the serial number is on these things. I don't know if I can even focus in there or not. But anyways, C51A HD5 something, 5H maybe. And I also noticed right there, that big old hole I need to patch. That was actually where the front bumper support, or the brush guard, had like a cattle guard kind of thing going on. And right there's where they cut a hole in there, I guess from the factory or something, I don't know. Anyhow, I got to get that fixed up. So that's kind of where I'm at, and I've got the thing setting pretty low. Hopefully once it gets down to it, I'll be able to I will have to raise it up a little bit, I think, because I don't know if I probably won't be able to get that big old honking cross member in between that cherry picker arm or leg and the frame. So I may have to raise it up just a tad, but I don't know, I'll see how it works out. I was trying to keep it low, as low to the ground, just so it was easier to finagle the new Jaguar crossmember under there, but we'll see. You know, it'd be sweet if that crossmember would just slide right up. You know, I could lift it right up on those arms, or I'm sorry, on those legs right there of that cherry picker, and then just slide it into place, and then maybe jack it up a little bit or lower the truck down just a little, and then get it, you know, center lined, and that'd be awesome. But also, that's another thing I want to point out, and I'm going to end this little video, but please note that before if you're going to do this someday, maybe you're going to do it alongside of me. I know someone mentioned about actually matching video to video, or not necessarily video to video, but progress to progress. As I did my work, they were going to do their work. Basically use my video as a how to do things, or even a how not to do things. Kind of learn from my mistakes or learn from my successes. Anyhow, if you decide to do that, please be sure to mark your center line before you get too far into the removal of the I-beams. What I plan on doing is, once I cut my coils, or get rid of my coils, which again I will probably cut them, I'm going to go ahead and attempt to jack the I-beam up until it gets right to the frame. But one thing you'll notice, let's see if I can get in here, right that bolt, right, I don't know if you can see in between, right there where it's focused, you piece of junk. Okay, that right there is the bump stop for the I-beam. See how it's kind of in that little cradle shape, and it's all cracked and rubbery. Right above that is where it bolts to the frame. Right there is the factory center line of the axle. In other words, that's where the I-beam, when it comes up, right there is where it bumps. So that is a good point to draw your center line. So, but also with these old trucks, whenever you lower them a little bit, if you put your center line too far back, then it makes the wheels seem like they're too tucked in, or maybe even too swept back. So I may push my center line like an inch or around that forward. Basically what I'm going to do is set my cross member, hopefully set my cross member with my wheels and tires of the Jaguar wheels and tires in there, and do some measurements to the front, maybe to like that hole or that hole, and then level the left, from front to back on both sides. In other words, if it's like 30 something inches from the front to the front of the cross member, which I'm just making that number up, but if it's like 30 something inches on this side, then it needs to be exactly the same on the other side. That way I know I'm true left and right. And if it lines up perfectly in the fender well, then that's going to be my new center line. If that happens to be an inch forward, if it happens to be 2 inches forward, so be it. I just want it to look good once it's on the ground. So that's basically it in a nutshell. Like always, thank you guys for watching, and please subscribe. Once I get these things rolling, hopefully it won't take too terribly long. In theory, again, this is me being the optimist, but I think I could probably get the whole front end cut out, probably, let's see, today's Saturday night, and Sunday night I may work on it some. I get off at a decent time, and I'm off Monday night, and then Tuesday night. My family's going out of town. They've got a big horse event in another town here in Texas. It's a couple-hour drive for them, so I'll be a bachelor for roughly the week, but they're actually leaving out Tuesday during the day, so I may not work on the truck much on Tuesday night, or actually I'm sorry, Monday night, simply because it's going to be the last time I'll get to spend with my family for the week. And but Tuesday night, I can get hot and heavy on it. But my point is, I should be at least hopefully by the week's end, hopefully I'll be able to get this thing knocked out. All right. Really appreciate all the comments that either people have posted on the page, or that people have emailed me personal messages, things like that. I really hope that this helps people. And if you see that I'm doing something wrong, or if you see that maybe you would ask me questions like, hey, why are you doing it this way, or why you welding it in instead of bolting it in. I have reasons, but you know, I'm not a know-it-all, and I don't really try to be a know-it-all. A lot of it is for the ease of things. I think it'll be easier than having to build mounts. Initially, I may regret that, but you know, I don't know. We'll take a look at it. So stay tuned. Thanks again, guys. Bye.